Hey guys, Jeremy here from School of Wok. Welcome to my home. Just in time for the British summer, this series is all about barbecuing and cooking on fire. A lot of you probably didn't know that I love to cook on coal. Here's one of our Saturday specials, grilled vegetables with my ultimate barbecue marinade. My ultimate barbecue marinade. And this, I actually kind of learnt from my uncle, Uncle Janga. He's got the coolest name, but he never told me what was in it. So I had to kind of work it out myself. I'm pretty sure he puts it laid in with MSG, so I kind of skipped that bit. But apart from that, I think I've cracked it after about 25 years. So why is it ultimate? Because you can use this as a base and then sort of tweak and change it for lots of different dishes. And it packs a lot of flavour into barbecue, and it's kind of something different to just your average burger and sausage on a barbecue, burnt sausage at that. So we're going to start with our core of Chinese cooking. Some garlic, ginger, spring onion. Everything's been finely chopped. We're not going to bore you with that today because it's all about the charcoal and that on-fire cooking. I've got some bird-eye chilies here, a couple of them to make this nice and spicy. But that should sort of mellow out. The longer you leave this to sort of steep in the fridge, the better. I mean, I'm going to cook this straight away, but if you do have time, do this the day before, and then everything else is really simple. So we're putting a load of light soy sauce into this, and this is enough to make sort of 3-4 completely different dishes. So I'm going to add dark soy sauce to that as well, because I want it to darken and sort of caramelise around wherever I'm cooking. So I've got about 10 tablespoons of light soy sauce, anywhere between 3 and 4 tablespoons of dark soy sauce into that. We're going to balance out that saltiness with some sugar, so 3 to 4 spoons of sugar into that. Of course, this, if it spreads over a whole sort of 3, 4, 5 dishes and you're feeding a lot of people, then that isn't too bad. But if you're just sort of looking to drink that stuff, then I wouldn't go for it that way. So anyway, your mustard, I think, is my uncle's secret ingredient. So I'm going for 2 teaspoons of English mustard in there. You can use any type of mustard, but it does sort of, I guess, bring out the savoury flavour of that soy sauce. Give that a good mix around. Obviously the sugar will melt through and caramelise nicely once you start cooking your veg or anything you're putting into this ultimate marinade. So I've got my soy sauces, I've got my sugar to balance that out, my ginger, garlic, spring onion, some chilli, and then a little bit of rice vinegar. And I don't want this to be sour, but adding sort of 1-2 teaspoons of rice vinegar to something like this balances out the flavour without you really even realising when you bite into it. Let's have a little taste of that first before we put some coriander in. Ultimate. What really makes this for me is the sort of freshening up ingredient. So a whole load of coriander, roughly chopped up. Use all the stalks, everything like that. It's where all the flavour is in those stalks. So a lot of people sort of throw those away. You want to keep those together. Okay, so coriander, roughly chopped. Very good. Stir through. And now I just left the sesame oil to the end, just because I wanted that sugar and everything to sort of combine nicely. So a bit of sesame oil over the top. And there we have our marinade for the next sort of 3 recipes that I'm going to show you guys. So I'm actually going to do some grilled or barbecued veg with some of this ultimate marinade. Really, really simple, but we're going to sort of make a little boat of foil because I quite like sort of keeping my barbecue like controlled. So I've got my coal on either side of the barbecue and then space in the middle so that I can grill my veg without it burning and then char it to the exact char that I want once I'm finished. So with your foil, just going to form a little boat, and I'll probably do this for the separate bits of veg. I've got some shiitake mushrooms, some fresh shiitake mushrooms here, which I'm going to skewer up, and then some asparagus and some red pepper. Now, the asparagus, I don't mind just sort of layering straight into here, and then taking sort of 2 to 3 good spoonfuls of your marinade and giving those a good mix around. I quite like it being light and fresh, so not excessive amounts of marinade really. And you can see on here I always have this with my barbecues, whatever happens, even if I've got sesame oil and things like that, I've got a bit of butter just melting away, ready to just either brush over, take a spoonful here or there. So I'm just going to take a good bit of butter into that because it just works so well with the asparagus. So give that a good mix around and we can start those veg off pretty much straight away. But my foil is protecting my asparagus from burning too quickly. Red pepper, I'm going to do it like this. You just sort of roll it around your marinade to get some flavour on there. But with the red pepper, I'm going to go straight over the fire. Again, off the coal, but into the centre of the barbecue. And in a second, I'm going to cover the lid. We'll turn those as we go. You can hear that searing away nicely. Mushrooms. I've got some bamboo skewers here. They've been soaked in cold water for about half an hour or so. Just sort of get enough of that sauce over the top of those. If you want to add a bit of water as well, just so it spreads nicely, and there's more spring onion in there, so that's fine. Give those a good massage through, and we'll use all that sauce up, so don't worry about that. They'll bubble up quite quickly, so straight in onto the skewer. It's always best to sort of do it the same way up, so when you turn your bamboo skewer, it's cooking evenly. Shiitake mushrooms are brilliant because they've got that sort of really meaty texture, and they have a very sort of natural, savoury flavour as well. Try and get some of that spring onion into the cracks and crevices of the mushrooms too. So I'm going to make another little boat for my skewers, and that's just so that the sauce can kind of bubble into the mushrooms as we're cooking these. And you can pop this straight over the barbie. Grab your mushroom skewers, and as I say, I'll finish these off right on top of the charcoal later on, but with that sort of sugar and the dark soy sauce, you don't want to sort of over caramelize too quickly because you want your food to cook through. So your sauce is going to go over those mushrooms. You can hear that sizzling away now. And then we're going to cover this and actually almost gently cook that and steam that through. 5-10 minutes, something like that, and then we'll start to char them. So, you can see these guys cooking nicely. The peppers, as you can see, has got a really nice light char on it, but it's not burnt, and they're cooking nicely. The asparagus, I would say, is pretty much cooked through already. So you can start to get that sauce cooking up. And also the mushrooms, they've cooked through nicely. But now is the exciting part, and it's time to char. I can see that the mushrooms are cooked well, because even if I just press nicely or lightly with my tongs there, then I know that they're sort of more spongy, less hard. Those can go on to char now to finish off. Whoa, look at that aubergine. Keep calling it aubergine. That is not an aubergine, it's an asparagus. It's green and it's long. Your mushroom, straight onto the charcoal. Keep that foil ready for later because all that sauce is going to be great. And this is directly on the charcoal now. You can see this asparagus bubbling away. And I don't mind charring that in a second either. I just want that sauce to sort of cook up a little bit more. You don't want to burn your mushrooms. Just go quickly with that. Turn it quite regularly. Just to make sure it doesn't burn too quickly because it is right on top of that coal now. And so it's sort of coal management, moving, instead of moving the coal around too much, you're moving your food on and off the coal. And that, especially with vegetables like this, makes all the difference. I don't mind, if you understand your heat, sort of getting a quicker char on those peppers whilst you're here, and you can sort of move them around so they don't burn. That's bubbling away, so I'm going to start to char my asparagus. The asparagus, you have to be quite quick with this and know that it will catch very quickly. So just get it on one side. If you have a slice or a spatula, just ease that over and turn them once, and you can see how quickly that chars nicely. It's a light browning, not burnt. That's what we're going for. Make sure the rest of your veg aren't burning as well. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Whoa, this is kind of like stir frying on a barbecue. So my asparagus is kind of cooked in its own steam already. And you don't want to overcook it or burn it at all. Just get that lovely light charring on top. My sauce for the asparagus, straight over the top. And of course you could just have this as just one dish, but it's quite nice to have all these colours from the different veg in there too. Mushrooms, well charred now, so they can go straight over the top of that. Look at that colour. It's the same sauce, nothing crazy, just make sure you don't waste any of it. So my peppers have had a few more minutes, and I know they're sort of ready because I'm just pushing into them. I can feel the sort of air bouncing back. And actually, once you take them off the heat, they'll start to sort of sink into themselves. And now, look at that. I'm never a big fan of shortchanging a vegetarian, and that is amazing. Oh! It's always nice to have a balance of vegetables. If you are a meat eater, on your barbecue plate, get some of that sauce. That's actually heavenly. So simple, the same sauce that makes up all this veg, but what I really like, and little additions of a bit of butter with the asparagus, a bit of water for the mushrooms. It keeps the natural flavour of each vegetable exactly how it should be. If you like this recipe and you want to learn more, follow us, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.